Hello, good morning, everybody. Welcome to another session of Virtual Spiritual Saturday Book Club. And today it will be my final session on The Promise. All right, so we'll do a recap of the book, or rather of Rinpoche's life. Well, the book is about Rinpoche's life. And then we will go into a special session that's a bonus for you guys. All right. So let me see who's on. There's a bonus for you guys. Oops, sorry about that. Good morning, David. Good morning, Alice, who's here. Pastor Honey, and whoever else is coming on. So, as we wait for more people to come on, let's go into Rinpoche's life story. All right. At the beginning, right, I was telling you that a biography, sometimes autobiography, sometimes biography, and of a Lama, it's called Namta, which literally means liberating story. So what happens is it's a genre of teachings. It's a teaching in itself. The life, although it's a story of a Lama, but the life of a Lama is a teaching in itself. So various Lamas manifest in different ways. Okay, so some are more like manifest their attainments in the behavior, some more in their learning, some more teaching, some in what they do in their life. Okay, so it is a story to inspire us. What it means by teaching, it means when we read it, it is meant to inspire us to practice. So in order for us to be inspired, we should know the meaning behind each aspect of Rinpoche's life, or that particular Lama's life. So the struggles they went through, the teachings they have acquired, the retreats they have done, the attainments they have accomplished, the work they have done. Sometimes the work, like for example, Rinpoche is more of his work because he himself is quite accomplished from previous lives already. All right. So good morning, Iman Li Myang. Okay, I can't pronounce this name. Sorry about that if I pronounce it wrongly. Ling Myang Li. All right. Calvin, good morning. Yes, #moments. So usually the story of a Lama would begin with the incarnation lineage. So in the Promise, you will see many of the previous lives, the predecessors of Rinpoche, and the work they have accomplished in their previous lives. Okay, so Rinpoche's incarnation line is quite long, 24 altogether, including Rinpoche, he's the 25th. So you will see that there were many accomplished lifetimes and accomplishing many aspects of spreading, proliferating various teachings of the Buddha. All right, so I guess in earlier days, what I spoke about was not all of them. I didn't go through every single one. I only went through the few that that Rinpoche particularly related to, that spoke about the most, and that was Naropa. That was I spoke about Kangzi, but that's not what Rinpoche spoke about often. But that's something that I thought that relates to Rinpoche. And Rinpoche's incarnation line is interesting because he were both Buddhist monks, scholars, yogis, Mahasiddhas yogis, and also kings. Interesting. Not many incarnation line have that. So he was kings and also pandits, monks. You see? So once you understand his lineage, then you understand how Rinpoche works, how Rinpoche's incarnation works. So and why he is given the title Mahasattva, meaning great being, highly attained bodhisattva. So sometimes bodhisattvas manifest not, especially high-level ones, not specifically as a teacher to teach. Sometimes they manifest as kings, because their outreach to others is greater, and to accomplish during certain periods of history where they needed to preserve the teachings in such a way by maintaining political order. Okay, Rinpoche's incarnation line is not the only one. There are other incarnations, but it's not often you come across high-level incarnations like that. All right, and Naropa, Kangzi, and Tulku Drapa Gyaltsen, of course. And okay, so let's get into Rinpoche's birth, Rinpoche's childhood, the earlier part of his life. The earlier part of Rinpoche's life was a struggle for Rinpoche, as of many holy beings. If you read any saints, it doesn't have to be Buddhist masters, Buddhist saints, but of other traditions who were saintly, who were holy, who were devout practitioners of their various faith. Many of them, they have, what happened is their earlier life is usually fraught with a lot of difficulty, obstacles, and the key aspect of that is not to think, oh, how come these like Rinpoche, you have been high lamas for so many lifetimes. How come you're still suffering the negative karma of going through such a difficult childhood? And you should be the golden child. You should have taken rebirth in a family that would have taken care of you. And you probably have purified all your karma, or at least the karma to have that kind of suffering. Because none of us want a difficult childhood. None of us want to experience obstacles to the level that Rinpoche had experienced. But you see, that's the difference between a bodhisattva-like mind and us, in a sense that how Rinpoche's incarnation, the situation that Rinpoche was born into is not a result. Listen now. The situation, the childhood that Rinpoche was born into is not the result of Rinpoche's karma. It's the result of his aspirations from a previous life. So from a previous life, Rinpoche prayed to be in a difficult situation to benefit others. Rinpoche prayed to alleviate the suffering of others. Rinpoche prayed in previous life to benefit many. So in order to benefit many, the cause for it has to arise from somewhere. Okay, so the wish to benefit others have to arise from somewhere. So for Rinpoche in this life, manifest that in this way. Yes, it is possible. You see, it is possible for Rinpoche to be reborn as a golden child, and recognized, and then brought into the monastery, taken care of, everything, is provided, and have a really good life, and still Rinpoche would benefit others. But the benefit is different. All right. So in this particular life of Rinpoche's, Rinpoche had, in order to prepare him for his work in this life. I'll go into what Rinpoche's work in this life is about. Okay. In order to prepare Rinpoche to do his Dharma work in this life, he had to go through the sufferings of his childhood in the beginning. So whose karma is that? Is it the karma of Rinpoche, or is it the karma of the people he's supposed to reach out? So you think. So for people who think, if Rinpoche, you already purified all your karma, you're so attained in your previous lives, how come in this life you have gone through so much suffering? And also, on the other, one of the reasons why it's not Rinpoche's karma and it's our karma, I think, is because no matter how difficult, how bad, whether it's the abuse at home by his mother, his foster mother that is, whether it's running away, whether this is America, okay, this is not peaceful Malaysia, Singapore, or wherever you are. This is America in the earlier days, in the 80s, in the 80s, and crime is rampant, and especially against children who ran away from home, and there's many, many people who, many, many children. There is very high statistics of children who run away from home, and many of them don't survive, especially from that period. Even when I was there, I was in America, and I think about how many years? 6-7 years ago, I think. Yeah, somewhere around there, 6-7 years ago. And I saw when I went to the supermarket, they have a Walmart, and there's a notice board. They put all sorts of community notices, and there's one section devoted to missing children. It's so many. I think when I saw it, it was at least 20, 30 children missing. Many of them did not survive. So you understand the challenges, and that's why you understand that for Rinpoche, all the obstacles that he went in the earlier part of his life was not the result of his karma. It's the result of the karma that he has absorbed. And there's two. One is the karma he had absorbed for the people he will reach in the future, and at the same time it is to train him, to prepare him for that. You see, Rinpoche's incarnation line does not need a tough situation to mold him to be a nice person, to be a good person, to be a beneficial person, to be a beneficial Lama. He does not need a tough situation. Actually, that's my opinion, because many of his lifetimes, some of them were golden children, recognized, and then brought into the monastery. For even Naropa, for example, although many stories do not tell about his earlier period of his life, but I came across a more complete biography. He was a prince of a royal family. Yes, he was a prince, and Rinpoche is a prince too. He was a prince from a royal family. He was brought up with a golden spoon, but renunciation was from his previous life, and so it welled up in him, and he renounced all that. You see, Rinpoche could have accomplished that, but it's just the karma of our time right now required Rinpoche to manifest in this manner. All right, so some lifetimes Rinpoche will manifest as very young, not very young. What do you call it? Manifest as having a difficult childhood. Some will not be as difficult, but whatever it is, you see, the point is whether it's comfortable, whether it's good, it's nice for the young incarnation, he will still do Dharma. Whether it's got obstacles, whether it's no obstacles. So that is supposed to inspire us when we encounter obstacles. So how do we react to the obstacle? Whether it's obstacle from within, which is the toughest one, is obviously it's from within. What do I mean by obstacles from within? When we feel burnt out, when we feel we want to give up, when we feel angry at people, when we feel that it's not fair, that why do I have to do all this work and other people don't? When you feel that you're not happy with someone, when we feel that all this internal obstacle, internal negative emotions that we feel, these are the obstacles that's the more difficult one, okay? And how do you react from obstacles? Some of us get more angry, more disappointed, look for flaws. It's very easy. You want to look for flaws, it's very easy. Everybody has a flaw. Every situation has a flaw, because we live in samsara. And it's not really external so much. It is external, but it's more internal. What do I mean by that? It is how we see the flaw. It is how we perceive things. It's how we react. All right? So obstacles come and they will go. They will come and they will go. Whether we purify it, we practice. Some obstacles are very big. We need to purify it. Some we need to experience it. Some we need to overcome it. Some will go as will eventually be over. Either way, it will end. It will come to an end. It's just that how do we react from it? So we make this comparison for Rinpoche and us. If we were Rinpoche, okay, we encounter an obstacle, for example, a family, for example, our loved ones. How do we react? So that's an inspiration we can draw forth from Rinpoche's childhood, especially for us, although we are not, some of us may not be young, some of us may be young, but it doesn't matter. And in fact, we can use Rinpoche's story to inspire someone younger, because people relate to, people of their childhood of a similar age. But you see, when you want to inspire someone using Rinpoche's story, you don't say, oh, Rinpoche is like that, so you have to be like that. We tend to do that. We tend to give advice and lecture people. Okay, maybe lecture is not the right word, but to tell people, give advice. And we tend to have a holier than thou tone of voice. So that would totally make Rinpoche's biography ineffective. Because why? Because of the tone and the delivery. All right? So we have to be careful on how we deliver advice using Rinpoche's biography, because we have to, you see, Rinpoche manifests in this life on many aspects very ordinary. In a sense, he's a normal childhood, born, in Taiwan, raised in America, experienced all the, trials and tribulations of a young child. But what was constant throughout his whole life is just interesting, was Dharma. It is constant, it is undaunted, it is total determination, and it is with kindness as well. Yes, that part of Rinpoche's life we always have to remember, because we tend to, Rinpoche's like that, so you have to be like that. So we shouldn't do that. That's my point. Okay, I have a comment from Mr. Lam. Thank you very much. Mr. Lam says this: Pastor, how do we know if Rinpoche's next life will he be reborn into a difficult family condition similar to the previous life? If he chooses so, then will it be challenging for a geshe of import to identify him in order to bring him to Kechara? Okay, Mr. Lam. First of all, most likely it will be different. I cannot say what kind of situation Rinpoche would be, because I have no clairvoyance. That's one thing. I cannot see into the future right now. But if all goes according to plan, which is we do our pujas, we keep our samai, we maintain Kechara, we construct the stupa, and we look for Rinpoche incarnation. The geshe import, Mr. Lam, is not going to be looking for the incarnation. We are. And then according to tradition, what happens is signs will appear that will indicate where the child would be. What kind of signs? Believe it or not, it's dreams. And I think some of you guys may be familiar, or maybe already have heard, and some of you guys, many of you have dreamt of Rinpoche. Rinpoche have already indicated very clearly that he will give signs, and he's very incredible because he's very showing a lot of signs. There's a lot of Kecharians already have reported dreams, although so far we have not come across one that has showing signs yet. But probably when the stupa comes up, there'll be more conclusive or close indication. So those dreams will not be the actual sign, he's going to be born in Petaling Jaya in section 17. No, it's not going to be so clear like that. It will be very vague clues. And from the vague clue, there will be investigation. And then often we will have, after the course of investigation, will result in probably a few candidates. And then from the candidates, further test needs to be done for the young Tulku to be selected. And eventually we will be consulting High Lamas. The Bingkui, the Changzo will be doing that, and asking Dorje Shukden, High Lamas and Dorje Shukden. And usually they will have a, a unmistaken child, unmistaken incarnation recognition. All right? And so from there, then when the child has been finalized, recognized, approved by High Lamas and Dorje Shukden, what happens is he'll be enthroned. When he's enthroned, then we'll bring, and then we'll select a geshe of import. Okay? Geshe of import means what? It's just Rinpoche way of me saying that we invite a geshe from from somewhere else. Definitely not here. So far, we don't have a geshe here. So obviously, it will be from somewhere. That's why Rinpoche said geshe import. Okay, we import the geshe here to teach the young incarnation. So most likely, he will be grounded. I mean, he will be educated here if it goes according to plan. All right. So depending on our merits and samaya, then this plan will work. Okay, there's a lot of factors here. I cannot say conclusively everything will be fine, everything. So if Rinpoche does arrive here, we find a good geshe to teach Rinpoche, and perhaps some of you guys will be, come to see Rinpoche, and then you will see lah. And also some of you maybe come to teach Rinpoche, whoever, perhaps, because it will not just be a geshe, it will be some of us teaching Rinpoche, like perhaps English, perhaps mathematics, perhaps science, whatever it is. So the education will be here. So the situation and condition is quite ideal for Rinpoche if it goes according to plan. Why does Rinpoche want it to be ideal like that? So that Rinpoche is educated both ways, religious, spiritual, and secular in this life here, so that Rinpoche will mature fast, familiar with our culture, because Rinpoche had a lot of obstacles, understanding, getting used to our culture here, and then Rinpoche's work will fruition faster. Of course, everything is subject to according to plan, if it goes according to plan, right? Okay, where was I? Rinpoche's earlier part of his life. So, so the trials and tribulations that Rinpoche went through from, let's list them. From being born out of wedlock in Taiwan, put in foster care in Taiwan, neglected. Rinpoche was not physically abused in Taiwan, but he was severely neglected as a child. Okay, as a toddler. So the grandmother took him and brought him to America to another set of foster parents this time, Kalmik this time, and they treated Rinpoche very well. The only problem is that the mother had mental issues and eventually surfaced in such a way, it was schizophrenia, in such a way that Rinpoche received a lot of physical abuse, beatings, doing a lot of housework. For a child too young to do housework, too young, and doing a lot of housework, which Rinpoche never saw as abuse, never. I always hear Rinpoche talk about it, and he never saw the housework as abuse. And what Rinpoche said was, Rinpoche saw it as training for him to serve his teacher later, which is beautiful. And that's how we should think. A lot of us experience difficulty in the earlier part of our life. Perhaps it was a difficult parent. Perhaps it was a earlier partner, earlier friend, whatever it is, whatever situation it was. Perhaps it was a difficult early job. Perhaps it was a situation like we were born in a difficult, you're born in poverty. Some of us are born in situations where we're not so wealthy as we are now, in the earlier part of our life. So some of us are embarrassed, some of us are, that was how I was, we're embarrassed about it, and we shouldn't. And how Rinpoche saw it as, he saw his difficulty as something positive. We should adopt that. That is an inspiration for us to practice. And then we should adopt it and to help us mold who we are later on in life. Sometimes negatively, sometimes positively. More negative than positive usually. Sorry. We're not as attained as Rinpoche to see that positively. So a lot of us become bitter. Some of us are, we get scarred by it. We get emotionally scarred by it. I know it's easy for me to say, especially if it was abuse. So I won't give a sweeping statement to, we all should, to make, every type of abuse, difficulty in our earlier part of our life as something positive. I will not say that, but a lot of us, our obstacle and difficulty can be viewed positively. Not all of us had received abuse, all right? So, don't worry, Jacinta. Thank you for joining us. Good morning to you. I hope you had your breakfast, Jacinta. Let me continue. So for a lot of us, we should view obstacles, or rather our difficulty in earlier part of our life, positively. And sometimes, when we view it so negatively, we hardly want to go back. Some of us have amnesia, we cannot remember. Our mind block it off. And then when that's the worst thing to happen. When it's so bad that we block it off, you think we block it off. We have not. Because it surfaces in the way we deal with people, in the way we react to a difficult situation. It will always surface. Whenever we block something out, it will definitely surface again. And when we block it out, it means that we have a lot of fear and attachment and aversion, basically aversion. And when it's very, very strong, that will definitely seep in other parts of our life, in the way we deal with people. When we encounter any situation that remotely feel like what we experienced before, we will react very negatively. Why? Because we have a lot of attachment to it. Yeah. Our attachments are very strong. So when we study the Dharma, it helps us. When we look at Rinpoche's life, it inspires us. It is supposed to. And very few of us would experience, there are people who experience worse obstacles, worse abuse than Rinpoche did, but very few of us did. Okay? So for those who have received very little, not as much as Rinpoche, then we should look at Rinpoche's life as inspirational, because he has experienced more suffering than us, but he came out fine. And but then you will say, oh, but that's Rinpoche, that's not me. But Rinpoche is just another human being. Rinpoche is not a god. The Buddha himself never said he was a god. So if the Buddha himself was never a god, so then Rinpoche saying he's just an ordinary Lama, it's supposed to let us know that he's just like us. And whatever he accomplished in overcoming his issues, we also can do the same. All right? So I kind of sound like a shrink here, but I didn't mean it to be like that, but it just come across as that. Okay, so a lot of you see, one thing about Rinpoche's life is very interesting is Rinpoche's passion. His passion for Dharma, his passion, meaning how is it manifested? Earlier part, which is cute. Well, Rinpoche, when he was younger, he likes to draw Buddha pictures, and then he'll cut out into little paper pendants, he'll tie a string, and then give to his friends, his cousins. And then, because he innately felt that if he draw the Buddhas, right, and give it to people, it will protect them. And that belief, that faith that Rinpoche had in the Buddhas never left Rinpoche. Later on, Rinpoche, when he was in teenager years, what he did was he found more books in the libraries and he photocopied, he Xerox. And then he gave, so it's better quality lah. Then later on, he started, when he came to Malaysia, what he did was he started making statues, because statues were not so readily available in the earlier days. So I think he found a maker in Penang, and he made plastic statues. It was very nice. And then later on, he managed to open Kechara Paradise so that it will bring statues in and sell it, and became what we know Kechara as Kechara Paradise for. And that the paper pendants became pendants, Buddha pendants. Because Rinpoche said the inspiration for the Buddha pendants that he made was actually from a gold Buddha pendant that was given to him. Apparently, in the Mongolian tradition, everybody had a gold Buddha pendant. So it's supposed to be worn around, of course we wear around the neck lah, so you blessed you. So Rinpoche brought over that, and it's very simple to design. So Rinpoche liked that, and he designed many, and it became something of a passion for Rinpoche, because Buddha pendants to be beautiful, because we like to adorn ourselves, we like to wear Buddha pendants, we like to wear jewelry. So Rinpoche saw that as an opportunity for people to do that, wear jewelry, beautiful jewelry, and at the same time bless us. So Rinpoche had a whole series of Buddha pendants that is designed beautifully. So we wear it, and it blesses us. It blesses us, and it blesses people who see it, right? So Rinpoche saw that as a wonderful way to spread Buddhism. And this belief didn't come recently. It was not a recent thought. It was not in the last 5, 10, 20 years. It was since he was a kid, which is wonderful, beautiful, you know. A lot of us have no faith when we first thought, you know, how many kids go to the temple and, you know, unless they're Tulku, they're like incarnate Lama, you know, they have some sort of faith in the Buddhas. Many of us, they just run crazy, scream, you know, in the temple. And some of them, some of the kids, the parents have to like fold your hands, and then they resist, they cry, you know. So our imprints are not that strong. But it does not matter. So now that we are adults, we are, you know, we understand the Dharma, we understand the benefits of the Buddha statue, then we have to put that into practice. How do we put that in practice? Altars, Buddha pendants, giving, helping others. You know, the Buddha pendants we buy doesn't have to be expensive, doesn't have to be beautiful, and, you know, it's up to you. If you want it beautiful, it's fine. But I mean, you can also buy and give it to others. Actually, it is a practice to make 100,000 tsatsas. It's one of the preliminary practices. What is a tsatsa? A tsatsa is a Buddha image in the Tibetan tradition that is small, made of clay, consecrated. And we can do that. If you want, you can make 100,000. So you can buy, you can order from KP, but it's up to you. Actually, for what we can do is we can give small Buddha images, small tsatsas, pendants to as many as we can. Family members, friends. I'm sure a lot of them would wear it if they believe in. Of course, they have to be Buddhist, right? So it's a practice. Why is it a practice to give Buddha images? Because you have bought it. You have bought a Buddha statue, a Buddha image, not Buddha statue, sorry, a Buddha's image, and you've given it to someone. And so it will bless that person. And especially if you know how to do the prayers, or you ask a pastor to do it. Well, actually, you can do it too. Rinpoche has a blog post telling you how to consecrate a Buddha image, a Buddha altar, or you just recite some mantras, which is also fine, but the complete one is on Rinpoche's blog, all right, blog site. So anyway, Rinpoche's life was very consistent from when he was very young, all the way to when, you know, to the end of his life. He's always giving Buddha images, always giving Buddha pendants, always giving away from young to his old age. It's consistent, and that consistency is something that we should be inspired to when we know something is good in our lives. Especially because, you know, it's our practice. If it's the Dharma I'm talking about, and we should keep it consistent. We shouldn't do Dharma just when we feel like it, when we feel happy. You know, the 8 worldly concerns. I don't know whether you guys are familiar with that. When we are comfortable, only we do Dharma. When we are not comfortable, we don't do Dharma. When we are happy, we do Dharma. When we're not happy, we don't do Dharma. When people praise us, we do Dharma. When people insult us, we run away. We don't do Dharma. When we receive a gift, Rinpoche, give me a gift. I'm so happy. You know, they take picture put on Facebook I'm going to volunteer one day only. Then after that, not happy. Someone got a better gift. I'm jealous. Of course, nobody's going to say that But that's 8 worldly concerns. That's why in the Dharma, that's not very good. So we have to force ourselves to be more consistent. And then sadhana, when we are new, Doti Shuktan Puja is so effective. It helped this person 1,4-D. So we do, and then later, hey, how come I didn't get my 4D? Hey, how come I didn't get the business deal I want? Hey, how come I didn't get this? Hey, you didn't get. Then we give up the practice. So actually, a lot of Buddhist practice, the effectiveness of it comes over time. Sometimes you may not get it. Some lucky of a few of us, some lucky few will get it at the beginning, or a big one, what do you call it? Windfall. Something good happened to us, some sign, some dream or whatever it is, come to us, and then we are inspired and we continue. Not all of us get that. Some of us have to experience some purification at the beginning. So when we experience some purification at the beginning, some of us give up, and or later on. Usually at the beginning, we always get something positive, like we feel some effect, and then we are very excited. And then this is what you call a beginner's high. I don't know how else to say it better. A beginner's high. And so what happened is we get excited, and then we do a lot of Dharma. We promise a lot. Then later on, we taper down. Why? When you look at Rinpoche's life, Rinpoche is consistent. In fact, he does more and more and more. So likewise, that should inspire us. If we cannot do as much as Rinpoche or as much as other people in Kechara, it's all right. It's fine if you don't do as much. But whatever you're doing, you should maintain at least. At least. Don't go backwards. In our practice, never go backwards in our practice. Meaning we give up. First thing we give up is our sadhana, always one. First sign where we're going backwards in our practice is we give up our sadhana. Then later on, more and more, we start feeling, the pujas are not necessary. I'll be too busy. My business, pick up already. I can no time for coming puja anymore. No time to volunteer. More and more obstacles will come. So we shouldn't let that happen, because times may be good, although right now, I think for most people, times are very bad, but things change all the time, all right? And this is the nature of samsara. Everything changes, everything. It can never be nice forever. It can never be good forever either. It will come and it will go, it will come and it will go. Even when you do Dharma practice, you do Dojishukten, don't expect everything to be fine for the rest of your life, because we have a lot of negative karma. And so it's important to maintain a relationship to Dojishukten, so that when we are going through difficulty, when we do maintain Dojishukten as a Dharma protector and have faith in him and believe in him, this is something that is samaya with my Lama, my practice with Dojishukten. So we have that strong faith. So when difficulties come, we do the practice, you will see effect. And when we really, really, really need him, I always hear the stories of Dojishukten. When you really, really need him, at the 11th hour, some help will come in. All the time, I always hear that. This is special. I would say a specialty of Dojishukten lah. All right. So, where was I? I was talking about Rinpoche's earlier part of his life, where the difficulty and how it should inspire us. And then Rinpoche, you see, the difficulties I was talking about was Rinpoche's upbringing, the neglect he experienced in Taiwan, and then the abuse he experienced, in America. And what's interesting is, in America, Rinpoche's earlier part of his life in America, right, there was fraught with a lot of distractions. He wanted to be a star. There was Hollywood, there was his friends, there was fun, there was disco. Not all of you are attracted to disco, but it was, for a young person in America, it was fun. It was a distraction. And it was, there were boys, there were girls, So everything is a distraction. But none of them pulled Rinpoche away from his mission, his goal, his passion for the Dharma. Instead, he did the reverse. He brought people to the Dharma as much as he could in his earlier life, He brought people to the center. Some of them stayed, some didn't. Many didn't. He was very young at that time. So how do we draw inspiration from that? We draw inspiration from that is that we too have a lot of distractions. Not just Rinpoche, we too. We experience the same distractions. Our distractions are totally different from Rinpoche's, perhaps. Our distractions could be family. Rinpoche had no family though, as in real family that distract him. Some of us have family that tells us Buddhism is bad, that tells us Dharma is no good, that are not happy that we're in Dharma. And how do we deal and handle such situations? We don't. We do it according to the Dharma, of course. We do it according to compassion. Sometimes it is necessary. Like, for example, when Rinpoche was very young and in New Jersey, his teacher told him, stay at home, keep your mother company, don't come for teaching so much. Because it is Dharma, he said. It is Dharma to make your mother happy. So Rinpoche listened. Sometimes it will need that, but that shouldn't deter us from, when we do that, that shouldn't deter us from giving up Dharma completely. Because some of us, okay, no need lah, what for come? So it's important. Okay, let's see. I have a question from Martin. Dear Pastor David, for people who many not have had much direct relationship with Tsem Rinpoche, how should they view Samaya with the Guru, and how do they keep their Samaya with the Guru clean, especially if they have not received any direct instructions from Rinpoche? That's a very good question. I would address it later when we finish the recap. All right, it's a very good question, and that was why I was trying. I did bring it up a few times in earlier sessions. Okay, we can. Let's get on to the story and then let's finish it. Okay, so Rinpoche had a lot of distractions, and how we should overcome the distractions. Sometimes it is important, and I kind of equate distractions in many ways. Some are obstacles, actually not really distraction. Actually, distraction is an obstacle. Distraction is money, distraction is our job, distraction is a partner, distraction is our fun time, our me time. Distraction is when we feel like we want to do something else. All sorts of distractions. And how do we deal with it? We deal with it understanding the whole situation, understanding ourselves and our ability, and understanding that we shouldn't take it as an excuse to. A lot of us do, you see. Sometimes we feel, oh, I've been volunteering, I'm coming pujas consistently, I just need a break. It's all right, having a break is fine, but a break can be a distraction eventually, because we have one break, two breaks, eventually we break off completely. So we have to be careful with how we view it, because you know why? Our samsara is very strong. What is samsara in this case? Samsara has a very bigger meaning to it. I won't go into that too much for this session, but our samsara is strong, meaning our attachments. In this case, it's our attachments. Our attachments are very strong. What is attachment? Attachment is what we like to do, what we prefer to do, fun, drinks, making money, being with our family. Yes, being with our family also can be a distraction and a huge attachment for a lot of people. Huge. Because we spend a lot of time with our family, so we love them. It is fine, but to love our family members, our parents, our siblings, our kids, yeah, of course, it is important. It's not just fine, it's important. But we have to, sometimes we can do the Dharma also to dedicate to them. So we, instead of letting the attachment draw us away to do more attachments, to be with them, there's only so much you can be with them, and there's also so much you can help them. Some family members need our help, our constant care, our advice and all. So when we do Dharma, we should use our attachments to help them by doing Dharma. How do we do that? When we do Dharma, in our mind we dedicate to them. In our mind we dedicate to them, and especially how we can help them is we learn the Dharma. When we learn the Dharma and we practice the Dharma, most important is we practice the Dharma and transform. We change. We make Dharma a priority. When we make Dharma a priority, it will inspire our family members. It will inspire our loved ones. That's how we can use our attachments to benefit them. Let's face it, like we all are attached to our family members, our loved ones, our boyfriend, our girlfriend, our lover, our mistresses. Well, hopefully not. But anyway, but yeah, we have huge attachments for people. So we can use our attachments to benefit them, benefit ourselves. Because when we do that, when we do Dharma, we take time out to volunteer, and we can bring them along. Some of them will come along with us, some of them don't. Don't force them. The worst thing to do is force Dharma on people, into people's throats. Whether it's our loved ones, just because they are your loved one doesn't mean they have the karma for Dharma. Okay? Some people do not have the karma for Dharma. You cannot force them. It will only make things worse. So you can only inspire them. And when you inspire them with your change, they would come to Dharma. At the very least, if they don't come to the Dharma, they would feel that Dharma is good. At the very least, that's important. That's very important, because when they think Dharma is good, they will give you less obstacles. They will, give you your freedom to do Dharma. All right, so okay, I think I better speed things up. I will go on and on and on. So Rinpoche, in that part of his life, and then he met his teacher. He found his center in Thupten Darjeeling in Los Angeles, and then he met his guru, Geshe Chum Gyaltsen, Chochim Gyaltsen. His first guru was Sarame Khenso Losang Tachin in New Jersey, and then he sought permission from his first teacher. Then only he went to Geshe Chum Gyaltsen as his second teacher. It's important to know this. Rinpoche asked permission. So now that if we are looking for a lot of teachers, how do we ask permission? You should speak to a senior Dharma brother and sister to consult if you're looking for another teacher. And most of the time, it's not important right now for us. It's important to find the incarnation of a teacher. If you take Rinpoche as your teacher, if you feel he is your teacher, and you've taken refuge, and doesn't mean that, you sat under Rinpoche and then he gave you refuge and gave you a refuge name, that means taking refuge. If you believe in Rinpoche, that Rinpoche is your teacher, even if you have not formally taken refuge, it is okay, you have taken refuge. Rinpoche had already said this. All right? As long as you take the Rinpoche's teachings, you have faith in Rinpoche, and you think, Rinpoche is my teacher, it is enough. The formal refuge thing it's good to go through, and if you don't, it's okay. It just formalize things, all right? So if Rinpoche is your teacher, right, we should take this seriously, and take our relationship with our teacher seriously, and don't just be, I'll look for another teacher, like supermarket like that. Buy this, cannot already finish, look for another product. Because as I explained before, it leads to confusion, all right? So I think everybody is clear about that. And then, so Rinpoche got permission from his first teacher and went to the second teacher. And then from there, he met Kechara Song Rinpoche. And then Rinpoche made the promise. Yeah, because Rinpoche was planning ahead. You see, that's Rinpoche. And that should be us too. We should plan ahead, and many of us do. But we only plan ahead for our secular life. We only plan for our family or what school our kids should go to. We plan ahead for investments. We plan ahead for, our old age, our retirement. But we don't plan our spirituality. We don't think ahead. We don't think what we will do. We don't think much, actually. We don't think much because we don't know much. Some of us, yes. So it's important for us to learn. And when we learn, we know how to plan our spirituality, as in retreats that we will do, as in perhaps some of us are planning to further our practice. And how we can do that, we have no idea also. So when we learn more, then we know what kind of retreats we can do, what kind of retreats. The initiations and all that is not so important. It is actually learning the Dharma and applying it and doing even right now, we can do retreats. We don't need to do Vajragini. We can do Lama Tsongkhapa. That's what Rinpoche told us to do, to prepare us for later on. All right? So let me see. I think there's something here that was mentioned. Sharon says, Dodeshun does hear us even when we least expect it. Recently, I was just wishing for some nice flowers to offer to Rinpoche and DS on my altar. Then a couple of days ago, my florist messaged me saying that she had Kenya red roses, the very color that Rinpoche liked. What are the chances of this in Bentong? I was super happy and mentioned this to my florist. She said, DS hears our prayers. Yes, even for simple things as making offerings, many things. That's the role of a Dharma protector, actually, to make conditions right for us to collect merit, to make conditions right for our Dharma practice. This is why he protects our Dharma. He's not supposed to protect our attachment. He's not supposed to protect our our fortune. But our fortune and our finances does affect our spirituality long term. So he does help. But more important is that Dodeshun view us protects our practice. Hence, he's called a Dharma protector. He protects our Dharma. It's important for us to understand that. All right? And so Rinpoche met Tsong Rinpoche. He made the ultimate, the pivotal decision. He will be a monk. Because from very young, he always wanted to be a monk. It is something that comes from within. No one told him. He doesn't have a lot of monks. Most of his people he hang out, it was family members, like most of us. Our family members and everybody is secular. So nobody was like, oh, we want to be a monk, so that inspired him. No, nobody inspired Rinpoche. It came from him. It came from his previous life. All right? So he made the decision, he made the promise, and he acted out. He acted on the promise, he became a monk. Against all obstacles of a young American boy. Rinpoche was American, he's totally American by that time in his teenage years. Totally American, Western mindset, but softened by Dharma, of course. But his outlook was very American, very Western, and tempered by his background as a Kalmyk boy, but he was raised as an American. So, and then he made the big jump from America to India to be a monk. So imagine that, how much one have to go through to jump cultures. For us, when we go on holiday, I cannot understand now. I cannot understand why they act like that. You cannot take the food. Rinpoche had a lot of struggles too, when he went to India. And Rinpoche was interesting because although he came from the West with totally American diet, when he went to India, he totally embraced it. He loved Indian food. Until the end of his Rinpoche's life, his passion was Indian food. Why is that? What is there to draw from it? Actually, more important is that. What is there to draw from it? It shows you what Rinpoche's direction in life is. From food? No. India, this is what I think. Indian food represents everything about being a monk, everything about spirituality for Rinpoche. That's what it means. For me, that's what I think. Rinpoche never, this is all spiritual and this is how I see it. No. That represents, and Rinpoche totally embraced it, and it became something that Rinpoche always, it brings comfort for Rinpoche when he eats Indian food. Not American food. Yeah, sometimes Rinpoche will have pasta, he will have burgers, all that, but that's not something Rinpoche really was into. He was totally into Indian food, totally, and Tibetan food. So that shows you Rinpoche's direction in life, which is spirituality. So there's something that I feel that even Rinpoche's diet shows you that. Okay, and then he went to India, and then in the monastery he experienced all sorts of cultural shocks. Yeah, Rinpoche went through a lot of culture shock. Rinpoche said it, and we read about it. And Rinpoche even ran away from the monastery for a while, and he came back. And what's there to draw from it? We do that too. We try to run away from Dharma. We try to run away from our responsibilities. This is how to be Dharma. Our responsibilities. We have our me time. We want our me time. Our me time is so important. If I have to sacrifice my me time, Woe behold, my wrath will have no equal. If anybody infringed our me time, our personal time, we will get so angry. Isn't it true? So Rinpoche had no me time. He had totally monastery time. He had total monk time, monastic time rather. And he had a lot of difficulties in the monastery, and he ran away and he escaped for a while, and then he came back. The challenges were so difficult for Rinpoche as an American boy, being in India. Everything was foreign to him. Nobody familiar around to guide him, nobody. Because Song Rinpoche at that time had the clear light. When he entered the monastery, Rinpoche said with a lot of sadness, Song Rinpoche was felt everywhere in the Ladrang. Then he went to his room, the prayer room, everywhere. He felt his presence, but he was nowhere to be seen. So nobody is guiding Rinpoche, He had to guide himself. And he overcame it anyway. He came back. Somebody asked, why would Rinpoche do that? I thought Rinpoche shouldn't give up. He's manifesting for our sake. Even Rinpoche ran away and his guru, Cancer Rinpoche, didn't look for him. He will come back, I can assure you. But Cancer Rinpoche did look. Cancer Rinpoche himself was a good Lama. And he made sure that Rinpoche came back. He told Rinpoche, which was beautiful. He said, in a sense, if you don't come back, I'll prostrate to you. So Rinpoche said, no. My guru cannot prostrate to me. So I'll come back. How many of us, although we don't want Rinpoche to prostrate to us, we want Rinpoche to give us gifts, we want Rinpoche to praise us, we want Rinpoche to be there for us. And Rinpoche is not there for us, Rinpoche is not here anymore, we don't do practice anymore, we don't feel like doing anymore. We feel it's not important anymore. Why does Rinpoche have to be here for you to do something that's good for you? So all this can be taken into account that how it inspires us. So even when Rinpoche is not around anymore, this is how you maintain Samaya. This is to answer Martin's question. Rinpoche is not here anymore, right? We should still act like Rinpoche is still here. We should, whatever we've been promised, we should do. And for those who have not received any instructions from Rinpoche, plenty was still given. Plenty in the sense that the teachings Rinpoche gave. Rinpoche actually gave a blanket instruction for people to do retreats. We should do at least once a year. Or some people say there's more than that, but once a year at the very least, a small retreat. We should do our sadhanas. Even if we don't have a sadhana, we should ask a pastor or a senior Dharma brother to help us to come up with a sadhana, which is Lama Tsongkhapa and Dorje Shukden combined. Guru Yoga and Dorje Shukden, maybe just a praise, according to fit our time that we can do on a daily basis. Don't create a sadhana that is like 10 malas of Mixima, 20 malas of DS that we cannot maintain on a daily basis. Be consistent and realistic. And sustainable, we can sustain through, that as a daily practice. We should do offerings. We should come to Kechara. I know MCO time, this CMCO, we probably will not be able to come to Kechara for a while, but our hearts should be here. Through live streaming, through reading, through the Rinpoche's blog. How many people go to Rinpoche's blog to learn? How many people pick up a book to read a Dharma book? Rinpoche's book or otherwise, Dharma or whatever. How much interest do we have? And yes, some of us may not be intellectually into reading. We can listen. There's YouTube, there's audio, there's podcasts, whatever it is. There's so many ways, Why do we need to do all that? Different people have different reasons but this question, this section, we are talking about how we want to maintain Samaya of Rinpoche, right? For people who have no direct instructions, this is how. Rinpoche encourages learning. Rinpoche is all about learning. We should follow in order to maintain our Samaya. Dharma learning is very important. We will never be too advanced, too attained to learn the Dharma. Never. None of us in Kechara will ever be that too attained. Never. Even for high lamas who are great scholars, still go for Lamrim teachings. Yeah. So we should always do that. And whatever we've promised to volunteer to help, we should do. We should do. And of course, there are situations where we cannot do it. It's fine. I'm not saying that, because, we should forego everything else. No. But sometimes situations, so we have to change. We have to stop for a while. But don't let it for a while becomes forever. Find another way to do. There's no hard and fast rules how we can do Dharma. There's none. But the point here is to do Dharma, to do it, not give it up. Don't let giving up become something that is pandemic in our lives with regards to Dharma. All right? So that should answer Martin's question with regards to how we can maintain Samaya Rinpoche. And of course, it comes along with our sadhana practice. We can do Rinpoche's prayer. Rinpoche has a swift rebirth prayer. How many of us are doing that? How many of us are doing the mantra? Actually, it should be our daily practice, a part of our daily practice. It should. If you really want Rinpoche to return, we should do it. We should add to the energy. Our prayer alone cannot shift our karma completely, but it adds to the merits that will shift the karma. All right, so it's important. All these things are important. And back to Rinpoche's life. Okay, so Rinpoche had in a monastery, and then he was told one day that the situation is bad, and he had to go and fundraise. And he had a lot of resistance, just like us. We have a lot of resistance to Dharma, to initially, and some point in our practice that we feel we can't do it, we want to do it, we've been told to do it, we should do it. Rinpoche went ahead and do it. And the result, you see, us and Rinpoche is very different in that sense. Rinpoche, he grudgingly did it, but because of his devotion, right, Kechara arose. For us, we grudgingly do anything we grudgingly do. What's the result? 6:30. We do it mindlessly. Our sadhana, we do mindlessly. Some of us do our sadhana in front of the TV. Not advisable. You can do your mantras in front of you, but additional. We should always spend some time when we do our sadhana, we should be focused. Because we are not advanced meditators yet, we have no focus, so we should focus on it to gain some kind of more result than just planting blessings. There is blessings when we recite mantras, even mindlessly, right? But that should be additional. That's what Rinpoche told me. Because I asked Rinpoche, why does Rinpoche do a lot of mantras in front of you? I thought Rinpoche was doing a sadhana. Actually, it's not. Rinpoche is doing additional mantras. Rinpoche is doing a lot of mantras all the time, So sometimes when we go, Rinpoche will bring some of us, sometimes we go to watch a movie. Rinpoche will bring along his mala, and while watching the movie, he'll be twirling, he'll be reciting mantras and watching, which is incredible concentration for me. Because I try to accomplish that as well, and I find that, it was quite interesting. So you can do that, it's fine. It's encouraged for you to recite mantras outside of your sadhana. The key is outside. Okay, so what's my point now? So what happened was, with regards to Rinpoche's, the consistency of his practice, was I talking about consistency? Anybody can remind me because I was slightly dizzy, lazy. So Rinpoche was in the monastery. He was told, I remember now. Rinpoche was in the monastery. Tlati Rinpoche told Rinpoche, you should go and fundraise. He did it. He resisted his resistance, his belief that he cannot do it, and he did it. And of course, there was a whole drama of Rinpoche said, you're more qualified. And then eventually Rinpoche caved in and said, okay, ask Dorje Shukden. And Dorje Shukden said, yes, you should go. And eventually he went. So he came to Malaysia. And he gave practices. Yes, Jacinta, Rinpoche was asked to raise funds. The idea was Rinpoche, when coming to Malaysia, initially was to raise funds. It was to raise funds to build a dormitory for monks, because there was too many monks coming in. And not everybody was sleeping crowded conditions, and some were sleeping at the veranda, where during monsoon season, the monsoon season in India was quite severe, in the sense that it rained a lot, and then there were snakes. You know, when it rained, snakes will come out. Same here in Kechara, actually. When it rained a lot, some of the snakes do come out. So what happens is that would be dangerous for the monks. So the elders of the monks, which was Lati Rinpoche, asked Rinpoche to come. So he came fundraise, then he brought back the money. Lati Rinpoche, Khyentse Rinpoche was very moved, they cried. They were very proud of Rinpoche, he was very young that time. Then he went back on many occasions, sometimes to fundraise, and then eventually his teachers told him, stay in Malaysia. At the same time, Rinpoche was recognized simultaneously. He was recognized as a Rinpoche before he went. He was recognized as Tsem Rinpoche, and so he had the Rinpoche, a title of a Rinpoche, and Rinpoche, when upon receiving the title, he had no one to be Rinpoche, to congratulate him. He had no one, but he embraced it anyway. He used his title. He used his title in what? To instill faith in his students, so that he would be able to help them. So Rinpoche never saw as when he had his title of a Rinpoche, you should respect me. You should respect me for who I am and do what I say, so that I can use you, I can get you to do something for me. That's not how Rinpoche thinks. Although sometimes Rinpoche does ask people to do certain things, but Rinpoche's intent was not to benefit himself, was very clear to me, because I'm naturally me, I observe. As everybody, I am sure, everybody observes Rinpoche. Rinpoche's passion is the Dharma, is always the growth of the Dharma. So Rinpoche gives a lot of instructions, a lot of advice, a lot of practices for people to do to help them overcome the obstacle. And sometimes it's a few things at the same time. It is to help them overcome obstacle. It is to help them to do some Dharma assignment to benefit the Dharma Kechara. And the whole idea of Kechara is not to glorify Rinpoche. Rinpoche already said. It is not to glorify Rinpoche, although it does seem like it, in the sense that we have to study about Rinpoche. That's why when Rinpoche teach, you never ever say, you have to devotion to me. Never, not even once I heard Rinpoche say it. Not even once. It's amazing, so many years I observed and heard Rinpoche. I can remember when Rinpoche, definitely, because it stands out from everything else Rinpoche said. Rinpoche never, not even once said, you have to have faith in me, devotion in me. Rinpoche always it's like schizophrenia time, It's like third person one, You always have the devotion to your Lama. He always referred to himself as another person, a third person. Why is that? I always wondered, because, it sounds very weird. In English, you don't refer to it like that to a third person when you're referring to yourself. You never refer, in English, you don't do that. It sounds very, very weird and very, very, like wrong English like that. And like you are, like Rinpoche has taken trance or someone else talking about himself. Yeah, it sounds like that. I've listened to Rinpoche for many, many years, because Rinpoche always have to, unfortunately for Rinpoche, because he's the only one here, he have to teach in such a way to have devotion to him. And to teach our Guru devotion. And so because of that, he had to do that. He had to speak like a third person, have devotion to your Guru, have devotion to your Lama, be loyal to your Lama. Look at Rinpoche's blog post. He never, not a single one said to me. Never. He never slipped, not even once. Because I've heard so many, I'm with Rinpoche for so many years. I've gone through all the major teachings. There are some, of course, private teachings I may have missed, but most of them, all of them for the last 17 years, 17, 18 years I've been through, I've sat through, and I have observed, and Rinpoche had never ever slipped in saying, oh, have devotion to me, believe in me. Sometimes for some people, he had to use it on a personal basis to one person. And no, not even once, not even that. Not even that. I've not heard. I just had to think for a while and recall. Not even once he had to do that. So, what does that mean? Rinpoche has no ego. Really, he has no ego. It's so plain to see he has no ego. He doesn't want this, and he has taken pains to remind us. He doesn't want to be a teacher. Haven't you heard at many of Rinpoche's teaching? Haven't you listened to Rinpoche say he doesn't want students lah, he doesn't want to be a teacher lah, he doesn't want to teach, he hates to teach. And then he explained why. It's not because he doesn't like us or he hates us or whatever. It's just that people don't listen, people resist, and because that's not what he wants to initially anyway. Rinpoche always wanted to be, what does Rinpoche want? He wants to be a monk. He wants to be a meditator. At heart, Rinpoche is a meditator. That's who he is. If you observe what Rinpoche complained about, it is so that because he cannot accomplish what he really wants to, that is within him, which is he wants to do retreats. He wants to be in the mountains. He wants to be in natural surroundings because that is very strong imprints from a previous life, memories from a previous life of practice. Because he spent many lifetimes doing practice, much more than any of us, that's for sure. So his imprints are super strong, and that's what Rinpoche wants to do. So he's going against his wish. And you know what? Rinpoche knows his time spent here, the amount of time he has with us. He knows. He definitely knows. He hinted to us many times. He hinted to me. He told me many times, don't be surprised. One day you come in to my house and you hear me dead. It will be sudden. That's what Rinpoche told me. And which I'm going to get into before we end the session of this, will be about Rinpoche's passing. Okay, where was I? I was in... It's a lot to talk about in one session about Rinpoche's life. A lot. And so Rinpoche came to Malaysia, and then he accomplished, he founded, he had a few centers in the beginning, and it fell flat. He had very, very difficult students, and students that threatened Rinpoche. Yeah, students that threatened Rinpoche, threatened him to beat Rinpoche up. Why? Because Rinpoche refused to follow their instructions in a sense that to use Dharma to make money. This is something that Rinpoche didn't say. And for Rinpoche, Dharma is never for money. Although it is about money, it is about donations. Let's be clear. When Rinpoche is not for money, doesn't mean Rinpoche doesn't need money, doesn't need fundraising, don't need donations. You think Kechara is run on what merits? Kechara is run on donations, is run on our effort, is run based on the funds that we channel in, based on our work. So Rinpoche has no illusions about that, but Rinpoche will not use it to get it, meaning he will not sell himself for the Dharma. There's some things, that's why Rinpoche, a lot of the Dharma, Rinpoche is free and easy, is available online. Many of the things, pujas, prayers, that other centers, other organizations actually sell them. Rinpoche do not. Rinpoche have it available, and even Rinpoche's biography is available for free online. You can buy the physical copy, but you can also look at it online. And Rinpoche's books, and Rinpoche made so much available for free online, because that's Rinpoche's belief. Okay, so that's who Rinpoche is, and that's the foundation. And Rinpoche, when it comes to money, is very strict. Not because Rinpoche is attached to money. None of this is channeled to Rinpoche. Rinpoche has some personal funds, which Rinpoche has sponsors, that's for sure, but typical Rinpoche is used on his students. Rinpoche himself, I can say personally, most of Rinpoche's personal funds is channeled to his students. He doesn't give an announcement. I have used 50% of my donations, of my personal funds for student X, on student Y. he just sit quietly. So majority of Rinpoche's funds is he buys a lot. Rinpoche is a huge, I would say, shopaholic. He'll buy a lot of things to give away, to feed people, to sponsor people. Rinpoche sponsor people, okay? Rinpoche sponsor many of his students, their rent, their phone bill, people who do Dharma work. Rinpoche gives a lot of gifts, and that's Rinpoche's passion. And he doesn't make a long song and dance, he just do it. Meaning, long song and dance, what I mean, he doesn't go out and tell everybody to make sure people know so that, he gets more funds. He does not. And Rinpoche does not. So he get all these things and he buy all these things and then he gives out, and that's Rinpoche's passion. And he buys all this dog food, put in his car, and get us to drive. I'm one of Rinpoche's unofficial driver. There's an official one. No, like Rinpoche doesn't have a driver. He gets one or two students that he feels comfortable with to go out sometimes, to drive around. Sometimes Rinpoche goes out not really because he wants to go shopping or whatever. Sometimes he just wants to go and feed the dogs. And then we go on Jalan Chamang outside of Kechara Forest Retreat and feed the dogs. And sometimes to do distribution in Genting or whatever, things like that. Distribution of donation items. And then sometimes it's about feeding the homeless. When Rinpoche was in town before Kechara Forest Retreat, Rinpoche would actually look for street people. When I go out with Rinpoche, the old lady at the side of the street, which we most of the time we ignore. We ignore to a point where sometimes we forget. We don't even notice them. We just walk past. Rinpoche would always notice. Because I noticed this. I noticed I noticed that Rinpoche would notice them. Because I myself, most of the time, I don't notice. Rinpoche would notice all the time this. And Rinpoche would sense their sincerity for some reason. And Rinpoche would always ask me to buy food. I've gone so many times rushing somewhere to buy food for a homeless woman who's carrying a child, feed this old man. And there's even one time, I remember I was driving in Bandar Tama. For some reason, there was a homeless person with no shoes walking on the side of the road. And while driving, Rinpoche asked me to stop. And then he said, I will buy you back your slippers. Give me your slippers. There's one time Rinpoche did this. I gave him my slippers, and it happens to fit his feet. And then gave it to him. And then later on, Rinpoche will buy me back his slippers. And things like that. And Rinpoche would do a lot of things. Yeah. And why Rinpoche didn't use his own slippers, I think it's for me to collect merit. Yeah, I was thinking of that. Why Rinpoche didn't? Rinpoche would have done the same thing. Now Rinpoche's feet is very big, though. There's things like that. Okay, and I see a comment from Sharon. I've seen Rinpoche changing a set of car tires for a Dharma brother who Rinpoche knew he can't afford at the time. This is just as one of the many, many acts of Rinpoche's. Yes, even car tires. And I know one student, Rinpoche told him, you better, out of the blue, there's so many students that Rinpoche's that has cars, and he would single out one particular student, you better change your car tires. True enough, when the person changed, the car tires was bald. How does Rinpoche know? Interesting. That's clairvoyance. And there's so many things. Rinpoche's daily, right? The things that he does on a daily basis in Kechara, it's always about, I don't know how Rinpoche fit everything together, in a sense that Rinpoche is constantly giving instructions about the organization, what to do, planning. And then in between, he will think of what to buy. He will buy, in Kechara Forest Retreat, he always get one of us to buy a lot of food, 20, and then he will distribute to people. And Rinpoche's motto is to feed people, to make sure everybody's comfortable, to make sure everybody's fed, to make sure people have food to eat because they work so hard. Rinpoche will always do things like that, and then give gifts, and then to inspire people to do the gifts is design. No, it's not design. It's handpicked by Rinpoche for that particular person, and so it will touch them. It will touch them very deeply, that it will inspire them to do Dharma. Yeah, that's who Rinpoche is. That can inspire us too. So sometimes, we see a Dharma brother and sister who is despondent, is down, who's angry, who's frustrated. Of course, there will always be times like that we can inspire them. Maybe we can buy them something. Sometimes it's not about, telling Dharma, be inspired by my words alone. Sometimes it is just a gift. Sometimes it's to thank, a fellow Dharma brother who is doing so much. Sometimes, we're all human lah. So we get frustrated, we get down, we feel we want to, throw the towel in. So we inspire. Throw the towel in is an English expression to mean they want to give up. Okay? So, so the last part is everybody is waiting the bonus, which is Rinpoche's passing. And unfortunately for you guys, I don't have perfect memory. All right? So, Rinpoche's passing was very sudden. In the sense that it was sudden, and yet at the same time it was very stretched out. All I remember was Rinpoche, just before he went to the hospital, he was down with a condition that is another student had as well, which is urinary tract infection. So Rinpoche was prescribed, because this student had the same thing. So Rinpoche didn't realize what it was. It was a very mild condition in the sense that Rinpoche had to drink a lot of water, or constantly thirsty, and constantly going to the toilet. That's it. No fever, nothing. And so what happened was this student also had it, and so special antibiotics was prescribed to Rinpoche, and then Rinpoche was on it for a while, but it didn't improve. And Rinpoche was getting worse actually, while the other student who had the same condition improved and got better. Then it came to a point where it was obvious Rinpoche had to be brought to the hospital, because Rinpoche himself, actually he doesn't want to go to the hospital, he just want to go to a clinic or whatever. And but in the end he had to, because I remember Rinpoche saying he was moving out of consciousness already. In a sense, he was blacking out. So we brought Rinpoche to the hospital. And that's where the situation became progressively worse. In a sense that in the beginning, Rinpoche was put in HDU, high dependency unit, and then later on into ICU. And during that period of time, it was a very long time. It was about, I cannot remember the amount of time. An article that will come out will have better details of this, all right? I was there to take care I was one of the people volunteering to take care of Rinpoche. And so in a sense that we cannot be inside, because it's from HDU, Rinpoche went to ICU, and ICU at the time, nobody can be there. It's only the nurses, and the nurses are 24 hours taking care of Rinpoche, making sure that Rinpoche is all right. And he was on the intubator. If you wonder what an intubator is, go look at the victims of the COVID virus. All right, it's to support them breathing. All right, and Rinpoche has no coronavirus. All right, Rinpoche didn't die. That was before the coronavirus thing. This is way before. This is last year, not this year. Okay, so Rinpoche was an intubator, and Rinpoche was having a lot of difficulty, and there was one point where he improved. What I felt during this period was this. I felt that Rinpoche was absorbing some obstacles. And why do I say that? In the past, Rinpoche had done it while he was alive, of course, and he did it in a different way, of course. Rinpoche didn't fall sick. Okay, Rinpoche did. Rinpoche had fallen sick on many occasions. And usually when Rinpoche falls sick, Rinpoche is absorbing something, because how we know Rinpoche is absorbing, it's not Rinpoche just telling us, this is to absorb your obstacles. No. It is after that, things will improve. After that, a project will come to fruition. After that, a different step in Kechara, a growth, a huge growth in Kechara. So we know Rinpoche is absorbing an obstacle. And sometimes Rinpoche review, most of the time he does not. And sometimes it is Rinpoche falling sick, but most of the time, actually, it's Rinpoche in the past. Rinpoche would, there will be an errant student, Rinpoche would scold the student. Sometimes a department, after the whole incident, something will happen. So Rinpoche is able to do that. Rinpoche has accomplished that. It's called the power of the mantra. What was the word? Yeah, the power of the mantra. And what it means is that a Lama who has accomplished selflessness to a point where when they scold, their words can purify your karma. When they absorb the obstacle, they're able to absorb a certain amount of obstacles, of sickness, they're able to do that. When Rinpoche, it's very common. Actually, when Rinpoche teach, most of the time Rinpoche is very ill. Rinpoche is sick. I've seen it many times. And when he teach, he doesn't show it, but after that, he will collapse. In a sense that he has absorbed some obstacle from the crowd, from the students. And so in the hospital, Rinpoche was definitely doing that. Absorbing whose obstacles? All of our obstacles for the organization. And because the merits to sustain an organization that benefits others, tremendous merits is needed. And most of the time we are lacking of it due to our samaya, due to our lack of practice. Okay, so Rinpoche had absorbed a lot and also from our own negative karma. All right, each of our individual forms a collective. All right, so Rinpoche was absorbing, and I felt Rinpoche was also waiting for timing. In the sense that because Rinpoche is clairvoyant, he is planning his timing of when he passed, of when he would. Martin gave the timing of being in the hospital, 29 days, almost 30 days. So there's a timing that is intergalactic. No, not intergalactic. That is on a larger scale, on a bigger picture. Because Rinpoche is planning when he passes and when he will come back. And so, why I say that? Because Rinpoche definitely has this ability. I cannot tell you, I cannot show Rinpoche's mind to you, but there's always some clues. One of the clues that Rinpoche is planning all this is that he already had foreknowledge of it, and he told us, which is he always tell that his death will be sudden. That's one. Another thing is the long life pujas prescribed for Rinpoche in the past had been about, it's a type of puja called Khandro Tenshok, which is a Dakini long life puja. So this puja is only meant for lamas who have control over their life and death. Okay, so Rinpoche is definitely one who has that. And then on the other hand, another aspect of it that I think is a clue is that the manner of his passing, which I'm coming to. So at the end of the whole period, it is to purify the organizations of a lot of obstacles, to purify some of us individually who was taking care of Rinpoche. Definitely, it was not easy. It's nerve-wracking. It is 24 hours. We took shifts, some of us, and personal obstacles. It is also waiting for a student, a close student of Rinpoche, Pastor Seng Piao, who had been attending to Rinpoche for many years, to come back. Because there are many stories in the past of other lamas who, when they pass away, some of them, they remain in Tuktam, which I'll get to do. Rinpoche did enter Tuktam. Tuktam is a clear light meditation, which I will explain shortly. So the wait for a student to come back. So I felt Rinpoche was waiting for a close student, a very close student of Rinpoche, who's Pastor Seng Piao, a close attendant of Rinpoche, to come back and to kind of like have a farewell. And it is to prepare us in a way, because that's why that period, and it is also for us to collect merit. During that time, we were doing a lot of pujas, and a lot of us did pujas for Rinpoche. It was recommended by the high lamas. And so that was us. And then finally, when Rinpoche left, right, Rinpoche entered Tuktam. What is Tuktam? Tuktam is literally clear light. Clear light is a situation where the Lama has passed away. There is no heartbeat. The heart has stopped. There's no breathing. But the body is fresh. It looks like the Lama is alive and just sleeping, although there's no vital signs. Okay, so the Lama is sleeping, and during that time, there's warmth around the body. What do you call this? The heart area. Because the Lama is in meditation that time. It's a special clear light death meditation. Okay, so during the time it's warm. And the period of Tuktam, it's a period of time before the Lama leaves. Because the Lama has not left. The mind of the Lama has not left the body. Although the body has passed away. Meaning what? All the psychic channels, all the psychic energy, what do you call this? The channels, the energy from the whole body have been brought to the center and dissolved. The psychic winds have been brought to the center. When we die, what happens is, if you have clairvoyance and you're able to see into a person, all the energy will flow back to the center and the person will die. That's the process of death. For a normal person dying, okay? For a normal person dying, all this will happen. For a Lama, all this will happen with control. So what's the difference between a person who has control and no control? When all the energy draws to the center, right? And the person will have to leave already. But the Lama will, during that time, will seize the opportunity to do a certain type of meditation called Tuktam, and they will remain there. A normal person will be forced to leave already. So you'll never find a normal person after all this, and there's warmth here, the person will enter into a state of rigor mortis already. Okay, there'll be no warmth, and the color will change already of the body. And there'll be no warmth and be stiff in rigor mortis. And then after rigor mortis, the other stages, then the body will decompose. So, but the Lama is different. The Lama will remain in Tuktam. All right? And the period of time can vary. It can be 1 day, 2 days. It can be, the longest I heard of a Lama and remaining in Tuktam was 1 month. 1 month. All right? 1 month. Yeah, that's really long. And somewhere in India, in the heat of India, so the body will not decompose while in Tuktam. It will be as if the person is asleep. So for Rinpoche's Tuktam, it was for 2 days. Okay? So during that time, Rinpoche had told us before, when a Lama, he's prepared us, he told us what it's like for a Lama to enter Tuktam. And during that time, it's important to watch, not touch, no disturb the Lama, because the Lama is in meditation. I remember before Tuktam, okay, I have to rewind back. Even before Tuktam, I remember, and I was looking at Rinpoche, and as I was looking at Rinpoche, I always felt, and Rinpoche during that time cannot speak already. During the 30 days, hardly had energy to speak. So, but when he was not speaking and he's conscious and awake, right? I thought I should entertain Rinpoche. I thought. So, me as my normal court jester duties, so what I did was I tried to play music, and then Rinpoche looked at me and he shook his head. He said no. I was playing Rinpoche's favorite music, I was wondering why. And then it dawned on me when I looked at Rinpoche, I realized something. Rinpoche was some kind of meditation at that time. Yeah, the Rinpoche was in some kind of, because I don't know how to say, when your person is in meditation, you know. And when Rinpoche spoke, I remember the last time I spoke to Rinpoche in the hospital, and I heard Rinpoche's voice. I could not recognize Rinpoche's voice because it is the calmest voice I've ever heard from Rinpoche. Very calm. And like a person in meditation, I don't know how to say it. It's just my feeling. When you hear, you know. It's the calmness in Rinpoche's voice. Rinpoche had entered, the moment he entered, I remember the first night Rinpoche was in the hospital, I was assigned to go and look at Rinpoche. That time we were still allowed to go. And then I went to see Rinpoche, and I spoke to Rinpoche for a short while. In a sense, I asked Rinpoche, how is Rinpoche and all that. Rinpoche spoke to me. He didn't say much. He just asked me to. That time he told us, oh, could you scratch me? Because there's one part Rinpoche cannot reach in his back. So I had to scratch Rinpoche. And that voice, I will never forget. Extremely calm. Like someone in meditation, I don't know. The person in meditation got voice. I don't know. It's just the feeling I get. Okay? And then later on, back to Tuk Tam. Okay, sorry I had to backtrack there. There's some feelings I just wanted to share with you guys. And then while Rinpoche is Tuk Tam, what happens? Rinpoche told us when a person is Tuk Tam, it doesn't have to be he's sitting. It can be some lamas sit up and do Tuk Tam while sitting in meditation. Most lamas do not. Like Kechara Rinpoche entered Tuk Tam on a chair. Okay, sitting in a chair. Rinpoche entered while he was in the hospital. So, and in the hospital, so we have to keep up, we have to keep watch, because when the lama leaves, a drop of blood will be emitted. And then during that time, high lamas were telling us, be careful, because the drop of blood can be very tiny. You cannot see it. So, they advise us to put a white cloth just under Rinpoche's chin, so that when it drops, we can see. Because white is very easy, because Rinpoche was passed away, we immediately dressed Rinpoche in his robes, which was Rinpoche's request, and it's according to tradition. So Rinpoche's robes is maroon, okay? So if a drop of blood, you cannot tell. So it's important. So there's a drop. So fortunately, we got that advice, because it was very tiny apparently. I didn't catch it, someone else did. So in fact, Rinpoche has left Tuk Tam. All right, so during that time, that shows you, when a lama is able to go into that kind of meditation, 2 days, the Tuk Tam period for Rinpoche was 2 days. When the lama has entered Tuk Tam, it shows only the lama has control of their life and death. And I heard one thing which I thought I share with you guys. This is from Pastor Nevrao. Okay, his mother, who is extremely psychic, I would say, had a dream about Rinpoche. And during that period of time when Rinpoche was in the hospital, her dream was Rinpoche was in the middle, and there was a lot of lamas surrounding Rinpoche she felt from different parts of the world, and they were I cannot remember exactly what Narao said, but basically they were praying for Rinpoche to recover. And then Rinpoche in the middle just looked at Rinpoche's mother and shook her head. He shook his head. What the mother felt was Rinpoche had decided to leave that time, in a sense that Rinpoche had planned it. So a lot of you guys may have a question, why? Why does Rinpoche want to leave? There's so much to be done. There's so much to do. There's many reasons for it. It encompasses Rinpoche's work. It encompasses Rinpoche's plans for the future. And so Rinpoche has plans that obviously will not be voiced out, because, Rinpoche believes that when certain plans are ahead, if you say it out prematurely before it comes to fruition, there will be obstacles that will come. So there's a lot of things that Rinpoche planned ahead. He will not tell beforehand. Some things he needs to tell beforehand to plant seeds so that it will come to fruition for the person. But for himself and for the organization, usually a lot of plans ahead, he will not say it out. He cannot say it out, because if he say it out prematurely before it happens, before the causes are created, right? What happens is obstacles can come. Because Rinpoche's plan is to benefit people always. So definitely there'll be obstacles. You can bet on it, there'll be obstacles. So there's some things Rinpoche cannot tell us ahead of time. All right, that includes Rinpoche's passing. I think we should carry to that, because that's how Rinpoche has taught us before. And so Rinpoche had plans for the future of his incarnation, of his work. And perhaps in this life, this incarnation, the work that he needs to do has reached a point where his current body, the merits needed to sustain is not there anymore. So although Rinpoche, you see, I know you're thinking, hey, Rinpoche has control, he can live as long as he wants. There is also certain limitations of a human body in a human existence. No Lama, no matter how attained you are, can escape death. This is what we call one of the four rivers. In Buddhism, if you do study, I just heard of it recently from one of the teachings, one of the four rivers, which is birth, old aging, sickness, and death. It's called the four rivers because we are like crossing a river and the current is pushing us. The force is just a natural force that we cannot change. The force will always be there. This is a constant for all these four rivers will happen for all of us. And it is the reason why the Buddha became the Buddha Shakyamuni. So for death is one of the four rivers. All of us will have experienced, even the most attained Lama, no matter how attained you are, no matter how enlightened you become, you cannot change that. You just have to prepare yourself for it according to the Dharma. So for Rinpoche, there's some constant we cannot change, which is death. So we have to realize this, we have to understand this. And if you have a loved one who have passed away prematurely, it should be a realization, it should be something that will spur us to practice even more. And so Rinpoche has used death for us as a final teaching. Right? So all of us will experience this. All of us. There's no exception. It's just a matter of when. And the scary part is we don't know when our passing will come. We can only prepare ahead. That's why preparation is important. This is one of a quality of Rinpoche, that he prepares ahead, that we can too. And we shouldn't just prepare ahead secular-wise. Just prepare our old age. We don't prepare ahead beyond that. Now that we know the Dharma, we can use the Dharma. We should fully utilize this life to prepare ahead. And that's why Rinpoche passed prematurely not prematurely, but at this juncture, at this point. And none of us have understand fully everything that Rinpoche thinks. There's a lot more that probably in Rinpoche's mind stream that he has never voiced out, and I probably wouldn't have covered, but he had some kind of planning ahead, definitely. All right. So I think I have come to the end of this session. I thank you very much for following me in this, I can't remember how many weeks I've been with you guys, reading with the promise, partly reading, partly me explaining things. And I've overshot my time actually. And I just wanted to share Rinpoche's passing because someone asked me and I thought I'd do. And there will be an article coming out soon. Okay, on this. There will have more details about Rinpoche's passing and the whole thing. And the whole Tukdam Parinirvana aspect of Rinpoche, which is probably something, and I remember hearing Lama Michelle actually, who said that when the Lama passes into Parinirvana, he has entered the subtle body. It is the most intimate time. So a lot of us experience intimate moment of Rinpoche, and we don't know why. We become emotional. Most of us, all of us are emotional one way or another, and we feel closeness. We come back to Kechara, and some of us who have been away, and many of us had dreams, and we have this contact with Rinpoche. Okay, so because Rinpoche is in a subtle body, and he's blessed us in a different manner, and his final blessing, his final parting for this life, till we meet again. That's what Rinpoche said. So not Rinpoche said, that's I'm saying lah, but Rinpoche, that's implied lah, when Rinpoche blesses with a dream, with a moment of sadness, a feeling of loss, and a feeling of realization of for us, that how short our life can be if we don't fully utilize it. Okay? So that is Rinpoche's final teaching for us. So we should take it as a teaching. Okay, I will read some of your comments here. And then before we finish, all right? Pastor Honey, before that, yeah, so Pastor Honey says, thank you very much for showing us unmistakenly Rinpoche's selflessness, his great compassion and love of Dharma, which he would unfailingly share with all. And then from Yiman, thank you, Pastor David. Thank you, Yiman. And then from David, thank you for the sharing, Pastor David Lai. It's very emotional for all of us today and clearly for you too. And then Waiting says, thank you. Thank you very much. I didn't fully was able to convey everything I wanted. I felt sometimes, sometimes we talk, we just go in one tangent. So we just follow. I guess you just need to hear it. So sometimes it just happens that way. What you need to hear, I will be able to convey. What you don't need to hear, so it doesn't come out in my mind. So whatever it is, doesn't matter. I did my best to convey, because I've been quite close to Rinpoche, and I thought to convey what I have understand and felt and contemplated on Rinpoche. And even this whole process is beneficial for me in how I remember Rinpoche for all these years of being Rinpoche, and I hope I conveyed that would be of meaning to you. If for you guys who's listening right now live, and for future people who listened, who are Rinpoche students, who will be Rinpoche students, does not matter, it's the same. All right? And most important is to keep Rinpoche alive in our hearts. It is important because it represents our spirituality, right? So thank you very much. I'll do dedication now, right? Jeju Central Rinpoche, Mahe Panan Gyushe, Keba Yama Mipa Yang, Gonen Godu Pewashu. Toni Tonga Rinpoche, Mahe Panan Gyushe, Keba Yama Mipa Yang, Gonen Godu Pewashu. Daso Chene Sapage Wadi, Tanandro, Gonlan Kampana, Jebo Jozo Loson Drapai, Tampim. Shu, Kewa Kundo Yana Lamada, Jemi Choki Pala Lonchoche, Sada Longi on Terrachoni, Doji Changi Kopa Yotosho. Gewadi Yutuda, Lama Sange Jufuni, Chuachika Malupa de Salagovasho, Chujabo Songaba, Chosonama Pewala, Giki Shamachi Wada, Tuni Maushan, Sho, Dada Shenge Dosunda, Juros Latini, Giawalos on Trapai, Tamparinfa, Gyushe, Nimotala Santala, Nemekonian Talashin, Yasantatu Dalata, Controso Jingulo, Controso Motoso, Controso Tashi, Sho, Jazon Lama Kosoratashi, Namkachi, Shtipada, Los Antemi, Jomi Samsongi, Jomosatatu Ne, Gyushe, Candida, Coalition of them. Penandawa Malu Kaman, Chenrese wanted Gasai, Shabi City Badu and Yushi, Hong, Tomping Odu Malupa, Dinidala Sodiso, Quarantine Malaj. Give us shook Thank you, everybody, and have a nice weekend.